Yeah, he can shoot, man.
Now, if someone made the argument that the appetizer should actually be what the dessert is called,
once again, I got
to see that
out there
because you want like the last thing to be like,
wow.
Hold on.
Testing.
Hold on, don't start yet. We have to have an introduction, like, hey, this is Talk Cafe.
I'll come on. I already told you, I'm not doing an introduction trap. That's my introduction.
Whenever you're ready, Pop. What are we starting with? We starting with the bus stuff question? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk Cafe.
I knew the intro was gonna be like that.
Well, I mean, what other way do you want to do it?
Absolutely knew the intro.
You know what?
Like
I should probably open it like a Starbucks person, right?
Probably should have not opened it.
Excuse me, what's your name? And then I get it wrong, but I spell it like D-U-A-N-E.
It wasn't too far from that. I knew as soon as he came in, he was gonna come in like, all right, everybody. So this is.
It just sound all plastic. Not.
What up? Like an old 1990s radio
I would have just
DJ.
came and regular. It's Talk Cafe here. We got such and such.
Put a quick freestyle.
Let y'all introduce each other. You know.
Well, now that we've already gone off topic, you already know what the rest of the show is about. So just introducing myself. You have Daquan here.
You have the awesome moderator, Kayla.
You have the awesome and sometimes out of control, Dwayne.
We have the most incredible and most inspiring and the most of the most, Nate Hustle.
I mean, he got the most of the most part right, as you see with that.
Sounded like that Men in Black scene. Best of the best of the best.
All right, what we getting into today?
I mean, let's just break it down for a couple of people, I guess, who don't really know what the show is about. I mean, this is the first time people are going to be hearing it, so.
It's a
okay, so let's.
I mean, let's call it what it is. It's a variety talk show, right? Essentially, we talk about every and anything. And I think the first thing we wanted to talk about today was an argument that we had earlier.
But first, we didn't introduce the show. Did we say the name of the show was called Talk Cafe?
We did.
We did.
It's brought to you by MailChimp. No,
Voters.
Wait, is that real? Because they're not cutting us a check.
No, they're not cutting us a check. Just want to let you know we are broke. Just putting that in the atmosphere. We are extremely broke. No, so what we're talking about today is what is considered a bust in sports, but particularly basketball, because I have a very unpopular opinion.
No, actually, you have a popular opinion. The masses would agree with you.
I don't think
I'm the one that's in the minority. But
I don't think the masses would.
I digress.
A bust in sports.
Yeah, my unpopular opinion essentially is that.
Well, can we go around the table and ask everybody what they think their opinions is first, and then we'll get into it? So,
okay.
So we can have an understanding of where
I'll
everybody's
let
coming
everyone tell what their version of a bust is before I get into my very unpopular opinion.
Okay, well, you start with yours first, since you...
A bust to me is somebody who doesn't live up to the expectations set forth upon them. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean if someone could be a bust their entire career. Someone can be a late bloomer. It happens all the time. But, you know, bust can happen team to team, contract to contract.
So you're saying that they can be a half a bust?
Yeah, and you're still considered a bust because you didn't live up. That's like if Kobe was terrible playing with the Philadelphia 76ers and went on to be a great for the Lakers. Well, he was a bust for the Sixers, and the Sixers fans get no enjoyment out of having
But he ultimately becomes a great player?
But he ultimately becomes a great player.
So he's a great player, he's not a bust?
No, he's a bust for the Sixers.
Okay, but
we're getting into it again.
Yeah, see, this is what happens every time we have a conversation. We always get sidetracked. Just go to Kayla and ask for her opinion.
What do you think a bust is?
Well, out of all four of us, I have the least knowledge on basketball, but I will say, in my opinion, a bust would be probably someone who doesn't live up to expectations or live up to where they put themselves in their career. So if you put yourself in like a leadership position on your team and you don't live up to it, you're a bust. That's my thought.
Okay. My definition of a bust is very simple and borderline genius. I think it's simply this. It's simply this.
Okay.
A bust is somebody who doesn't live up to their potential or their expectation based off of their talent and skill level only, not including injury. Barring injury, if they were not able to stay in the league due to skill or talent, they are considered a bust, in my opinion.
Can I ask you a question? Or do you want Nate to say what he thinks?
Well, let's go to Nate and then, because
Right,
I think it's going to lead into the argument. But go ahead.
I think all of y'all essentially saying the same thing, just in different ways. But basically, if you don't, it is the same thing. If someone doesn't perform as expected, then they're a bust.
Okay. I agree.
But the definition as to why they didn't perform is why we differ. So we agree to that, right?
But the question was,
Because
what is a
I
bust?
think it's because of skill, and you're including injury into that as well.
No, for sure. Injury.
Okay, so
injury,
that's why it's different. Everybody understands.
As unfortunate as it may be, an injury makes you a bust. Whether or not you were good or not.
Okay.
So let's throw out my unpopular opinion. My unpopular opinion was that Kristaps Porzingis of the Knicks, I have this really sneaky feeling that he is going to be a bust for the Knicks. And this is not because I don't like him or I don't like the Knicks. Full disclosure, I am a Nets fan.
He doesn't like the Knicks. That's the definition.
It's not that I don't like it. I'm in. On
He has to ride on some team. Good.
But I think
He's a Nets fan. He's disqualified. Okay.
I just have a sneaky suspicion that the injury is really going to hold him back for the rest of his career. Now, however great that Knicks fans might think he's been in 3 years, it doesn't matter because I honestly think that the injury is going to make him a bust. And we've seen this happen before. As terrible as it is to say, Brandon Roy of the Trailblazers, in my opinion, is a bust. He made All-Star games. He played well for the Portland Trailblazers, but at the end of the day, he didn't have everything okay? So it goes back to the idea of injury isn't the only thing that makes you a bust. Being unskilled isn't the only thing that makes you a bust. Sometimes it's an unfortunate situation of, circumstance. Brandon Roy is a bust.
Okay, well, under that expectation, then I would say players like Allen Iverson is a bust.
Watch your mouth.
See?
Yeah, that's a bit far.
Watch your mouth. Allen Iverson was never a bust. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying he is. I'm going off of what his definition of a bust
Disrespectful.
is.
But then in what context?
Because he didn't live up to the expectations that we had of him.
He did live up to it. He just got kicked out of the league.
He got what?
His level of skill.
When he was in the league, he was on top of the game this whole time.
Oh, he was? Because I thought the expectation of Allen Iverson was to win one championship.
That's the expectation of every player.
No, it's not.
That is.
Every player doesn't have
That's
that.
That's what they go to the league for.
That's what they go to the league for, to win a championship. No one comes to the league.
Okay, so we had an expectation of Amari Stoudemire winning a championship, right?
Of course.
When he got drafted, that was his expectation?
Of course.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
We expected Amari Stoudemire, when he got drafted, to win a championship.
Yeah, because that's the expectation of every player. It's you're going to draft a player that's going to help you win the championship.
Okay, help and him being the reason is different.
Single-handedly wins the championship.
Are you sure about that?
I'm 100% sure. And don't say LeBron because
I'm not going to say LeBron, but I'm going to bring up who LeBron lost to. And I remember Dirk Nowitzki being the sole star on his team.
Even if LeBron lost, he still lived up to the expectations as an individual player.
That's not. How was that possible? If we expected him to win a championship, how did he live up to it?
I mean, but he has won championships.
Right. You said even if he lost. How is he living up to the expectation of winning a championship if he lost?
His expectation is...
It's the difference between when you're the main person on the team that's actually doing the most for the team. When we expect him to take over the games, and then he does that. Now, sometimes it can be close and they lose, but he did his part.
Okay, I got you. So you mean to tell me that because he lost, he still did his part and he lived up to that expectation?
It depends. If they do lose, it depends on how they lose. If they lose because we can tell he gave up, then that's different.
So I understand you guys' argument. You're basically saying that every player that gets drafted has the weight of the team.
No.
They didn't say that.
They didn't say that.
Because I'm saying that not every player has that, so we're on the same page.
You're drafted with the expectation that you're going to help the team get to that top.
Right,
pinnacle.
and then there's some players that get drafted not just to help, but to carry teams to a championship.
Agreed.
So there's a different level of expectation, right?
Agreed.
Okay. So the expectation of Allen Iverson wasn't to help. It was to carry that team to a championship.
And he carried them to the finals. And
Can we argue Allen Iverson is one of the, if not the best shooting guard ever?
Allen Iverson is definitely the fourth best shooting guard of all time.
Probably top.
The what?
He's the fourth best shooting guard of all
Fourth?
time. Fourth.
Yeah.
Who got on top of him? Who's number one?
I have Jordan, I have Kobe, and I have Wade.
Yeah, about to
top
say,
three.
that's probably my top 3.
Easily top 3.
Wade, and the only difference between Wade and Iverson is Wade's one.
But you could tell how great of a player he is. He never won. Didn't finish his whole career, and you still put him at number 4.
Because he's also one of the top 5 most influential players of all time.
If not the.
Yeah,
I feel like it's
the most influential.
Probably the most influential player.
Who influenced more? Like as
there's
far as
no
like
more,
a style.
There's no more influential player than Michael Jordan in the history of basketball.
I don't know. Michael was great in influencing the way the game is played,
but the way the game looked.
No, but the way the game looks today is, I think,
Allen
like
Iverson.
98% because of Allen Iverson.
Okay, so let's break that down. So we're not talking aesthetically, we're talking style of play of the game, or we're talking the way the players look?
Both.
Okay, so let's look at
because Jordan had the game down, but
Allen Iverson was the only one with the armbands and all of that, and everyone got that now.
Okay. Again, I said aesthetically, the way the players look, yes. The way the game is played, tell me how Allen Iverson influenced that more than Jordan. Because if, in my opinion, the way the game is played in 2018, Stephen Curry has more of an impact than Iverson.
Well, I didn't say he influenced it more, but I think he influenced it close enough to the point where then him influencing the way the game looks as well, enough to where the NBA has to put in a rule where players have to wear suits. I mean, that rule's a little looser now, but they put in the rule where they had to wear suits. He influenced it enough to where it's like on both sides of the coin, he's probably the most influential, just as far as look and the way the game is played.
Okay, so let's
look at a lot of the small guards that are around now. No offense to Jordan.
There is none.
But a lot of the way these guards play.
You have 2 guards out of how many All-Stars a year that look like Allen Iverson? And I can name them.
Plenty.
Ooh, because Isaiah Thomas is the only All-Star that comes to mind that plays like Allen Iverson.
I would even say the way that Curry plays, the way that dribble mentality that he has to get open. No. I would even say Chris Paul, the way he has that mentality to get open.
Allen Iverson was my favorite player of all time.
So you're disqualified because you're automatically prefacing that you're biased.
Well, I'm getting back in the game. Okay. So what I look for and what I seen, what I loved about him is his tenacity and how he attacked the rim.
Yeah.
So only people that I could think about that's even close. Well, you're talking about shooting guards, right? But I'm thinking like Russell Westbrook, which is Allen Iverson's favorite.
He plays nothing like
that's Iverson's favorite player in the league right now.
Russell Westbrook is an evolved version of what Iverson was, but
Russell Westbrook
close enough.
Plays nothing like Allen Iverson.
He plays like a boulder.
Who does he play like then?
In my opinion,
I think Jordan?
No, I think he approaches the game with a tenacity like Kobe more than Iverson, because the way Kobe attacked every play offensively and defensively, and the way that he was able to attack the defense.
Now, would you say
he attacks it with more of a ferociousness like a Kobe than an Iverson? And it has a lot to do with stature.
The way Kobe attacks every play, do you think LeBron is on that level?
He's higher.
Yeah, he's higher.
I would say higher.
You think so?
Yeah.
Honestly, think in some aspects he's higher than Jordan.
Yeah, because he's more powerful. But I know where you're going. Play to play, like every play.
Not every play, because LeBron takes breaks on defense.
But if you're talking about every now and then, he's more powerful. There's nobody more powerful.
What player in the league would you be like they deserve to take a break on defense?
Only LeBron.
Exactly.
But I mean, back. Let's get back on the topic of being a bust, and let's switch it around.
Oh, but wait, can I just say one thing before we get to that? Curry plays more like Steve Nash than Allen Iverson, but I digress. You can go.
Back on the topic of being a bust and what it is, and let's switch industries for a second. Would you consider? Let's go back to a childhood favorite of a lot of people, Bow Wow, bust or not?
Not even close.
Not even
Why
close.
Not?
He's a legend.
He's a legend.
Okay.
Like people see Bow Wow now and be like, oh, Bow Wow this, Bow Wow challenge. He's looking crazy, but you gotta check his catalog.
Mm-hmm.
His man's been doing this since he was like 4 or 5 years old.
He's a
like
That's
this man got like catalog. Like
when was the last time Bow Wow was relevant in the spectrum of like influencing hip hop?
That's not fair. That's not a fair question.
It's a fair question.
It's not.
I feel like he is
because music is a different animal than sports, of course.
There's a lot of rappers that's hot now, or at least had a strong run in the past 6 years that doesn't influence hip hop today. But you wouldn't consider them as not influential.
Agreed.
How much has Rick Ross influenced?
But we're taking like longevity.
Shout out to Rick Ross.
Let's look at longevity. Let's look at players. Let's look at rappers that were hot back then, and semi hot now, or can get hot at any moment, right? Mm-hmm. Let's look at somebody like a Fabulous. Mm-hmm. What was his impact on the game right now compared to everyone else that we would name?
His impact on the game right now is very minimal, but there was a time when he was dropping really dope mixtapes, and he pushed the game to drop dope mixtapes as well.
What part of the game did he influence? Like, show me the impact.
The mixtape game.
Well, where did it impact the game at?
And just the quality of mixtapes that came out. You know
okay,
what
so
I mean?
let me give you an example of what I mean, so that maybe you can understand as far as like what I'm asking for.
I think you're asking like, where did he influence the sound? Like, where people were looking,
the way, the culture, the way it looks.
But no, you have to understand, he influenced the game and pushed it to a level on the mixtape game where people started putting out really good mixtapes. Then we have Fabulous coming out with great mixtapes. I'm talking like 2008, 2009. Where you also had Drake dropping his mixtape, Wale coming out with some dope mixtapes, Big Sean coming out with some really dope mixtapes. Right now, in the eyes of someone like a Bow Wow, mm-hmm. who doesn't do that or never actually had done that because he started so young.
Okay.
He started what Bow Wow started when he was 14?
I think. No, he started rapping when he was like 4 or 5.
Probably even younger, yeah.
But talking about
Bow Wow didn't have to go through that.
13, 14,
yeah.
I think. I'm not sure.
So it was harder for him to actually keep up that longevity and influence in the game. That's just how celebrity goes.
Bow Wow didn't have to go through that.
Right, because he had everyone co-signing him out the wazoo.
He was YouTube before YouTube came out.
Right.
Everybody wanted to know what he was doing because he was in his own niche.
He was the one that was going to give the adults the insight in what hip hop was now. But now, I even say, where does someone like, and I guess Kayla, this is more towards you. Where does someone like an X rank as far as like influence in being a bust? Now, not to be fair.
I heard he had good music. I never heard it.
Right.
You talking about XXXTentacion?
Yeah. To be fair, he's dead.
XXXTentacion I'd put on the same level as a Kurt Cobain.
Isn't it crazy that he's dead in his XXX? What's his name?
It is crazy.
Maybe that was it.
I mean, wouldn't you consider him a bust if he didn't get the reaction from his death that he did? Because the reaction he got was pretty crazy. Like, people were missing.
Point,
like, if
the
reaction from his death shows whether he was a bust or not. And I guess he wouldn't be a bust because people were genuinely touched. People were actually influenced by him.
When people like make him such a big deal just because he died, you know what I mean? Like,
but that's what death does. Period.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I hate that it's like that.
Because I honestly, again, another unpopular opinion. I thought Biggie and Pac both would have fell off.
Me too. I feel like Jay-Z would have.
Jay-Z's a perfect example.
Not Biggie. Well, I don't know.
Jay's the perfect example.
Yeah.
You have this really big artist.
I don't think so. You want to know why I disagree with
over time?
Because we've seen examples of both their careers and where they could go. When you look at Jay-Z, you see Biggie. And I think when you look at somebody like Ice-T or LL Cool J, you can see where Pac would have went. I think Pac would have migrated from movies to film full time.
The same thing. Except for movies to film.
I said movies to film. You know what distracted me? You guys eating that watermelon.
We all live.
And I really wanted to take one.
There's some really good watermelon.
This is all in the budget. All in the budget.
This tells you how black of a podcast
and now look at this watermelon and say it again.
We real.
I think Pac would have migrated from music to film. Full time.
He was already on film.
Yeah,
he was already on film, but he was in
good at it.
But he was in that stage where he still was in music. I think he would have migrated full time to film.
Then
he would have been a movie star.
Pac was an actor first,
and that's a good point. Because look at what LL Cool J did. I mean,
it's a rebrand. That's all it is a rebrand. And he would have rebranded.
And I don't consider LL Cool J a bust. And like I said, you can't in music. It's harder to say someone's a bust because of their ability to switch industry to something like.
No, it's easy to say they're a bust,
but
it's easy.
Someone like a Soulja Boy, who is definitely, in my opinion, a bust. Someone.
Wait. First of all, do not get this man started.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
First of all, Soulja Boy, I don't know what the hell is he doing now. Whatever. But when he had his run, he had his run. Like, he had his run.
You know who Soulja Boy is in the NBA comparison?
Don't do this. Don't disrespect.
Derrick Rose.
Oh, that's not.
No.
Nah, don't do that.
Because
You go in the beginning and you flame it with your glass knees.
Don't do
if
that.
Soulja Boy was in the league, he would have won like at least 2 chips.
Notice how I said don't do that.
Compared to career.
But he didn't.
D Rose didn't even make it.
I know. That's my point.
But I'm saying if it was the reverse, Soulja Boy would have had 2 rings.
What, you think so?
Yes.
I think
Soulja Boy got a catalog, man.
Soulja Boy is a really good producer.
No,
he's a
I don't
decent.
think
I think the catalog is bigger in the South than it is worldwide.
Yeah,
like
because
his worldwide catalog
decent rapper.
Everyone doing the Soulja Boy dance.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's the one. That's the one.
That's a champ.
You know, and that is comparison.
What is the other hit? What's it? Flip his hits.
I'm gonna say worldwide. We got 2. We got Swag On.
Swag On was hot.
And we got the Soulja Boy Superman dance. Outside of that, worldwide.
It's something else.
Worldwide. I mean, he has a lot. He has "Kiss Me Through the Phone," "Marco Polo." Like, he got good songs.
Marco Polo, but that wasn't.
Wasn't "Kiss Me Through the Phone" Pretty Ricky?
No, "Kiss Me Through the Phone" was with Sammy, I think, right?
It was no, it was Soulja Boy.
You sure it wasn't Pretty Ricky?
Nah, it was Soulja Boy.
Are you thinking of
But they had a song like that.
No, don't tell me. Come on, I got this. Because I remember, because I listened to it, and Daddy threatened me. Yeah.
Hotline, yeah.
I remember I listened to it, and Daddy threatened me. He was like, I don't want to hear you listen to that song ever again. I was scared for my life. But it was Hotline.
Yeah, Pretty Boy Swag was pretty good too. Pretty Boy Swag.
Again, I'm not saying.
Once again, that's not a worldwide hit.
That feels more regional.
Yeah, it feels more local than anything.
Like, I'm gonna be honest.
I'm not saying it didn't reach worldwide. I'm saying it didn't have the worldwide mass appeal that a Superman dance or a Turn My Swag On did.
What about y'all?
Nah. I feel like
the more songs you
No,
name,
but this
the more
is
you
why-
strengthen our point.
No, but I mean, this is the reason
give
that
greatness their respect.
No, but this is why
At that
I think
time he was great.
it's good to have
That's a
someone
fact.
like
See,
Nate on the
you're
podcast because
connecting-
I wasn't on Gucci, I wasn't on Boosie. To me, especially for people here in New
Oh yeah,
York,
Webby and Boosie is like, oh god,
Like-
those are legends.
but it took them going
Legends
to
before they was legends before they even made commercials.
but it took them going to jail
what?
for it took them going to jail for people to appreciate them worldwide.
No, probably.
Name something before jail.
Not Webby. I think Webby got more muted out than Boosie.
No, I'm saying Gucci because Gucci had Lemonade.
What
That
came
was a
out
huge
first?
hit.
I felt like worldwide, Webby wasn't popping to me, and I could be wrong. Y'all could kill me for this. In the comments or
But you
wherever
gotta
on
understand,
Twitter or
you was
wherever,
in New
y'all.
York. You was in New York.
I
You
get
wasn't-
it. No, I get it. But I'm speaking worldwide, right? I'm gonna jump out the window and say I didn't think he was really popping worldwide until Independent came out.
No, he was popping worldwide when he had that song with Trina.
What song with Trina?
Bad bitch.
That feels like a regional thing.
I feel like
again.
that. I feel like I gotta find it because I felt like
You don't
I feel
think
like
he had a song before that?
Trina was popping at that time.
What's that song that he had with Boosie? Oh, Wipe Me Down.
He had a lot of songs.
oh yeah, Wipe Me Down was lit.
Wipe
too.
Me Down was
It
the
was.
big one. For them.
Independent came out.
Y'all.
No, but that's what
Again,
we're saying.
worldwide.
That's what we're saying worldwide. Like regionally, I think they were huge down there, but up here and just worldwide, they didn't have that reach yet. And I think Wipe Me Down was their big one. Lemonade was Gucci's big one, but it took them going to jail.
No.
But it took them going to jail for us to be like, this is dope.
Set of stuff before.
I know he did. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I think you're making our point.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
You're making our point by naming these songs that no one cared about.
Or no one knew.
Y'all.
Right.
And that's kind of the point.
Like these, like they were releasing mixtapes. You know what I mean? Before, and they were releasing mixtapes down there before it even reached us up
Is it
here.
fair to say
All
that?
right, so basically, what we're saying is, I grew up in New York, but I grew up mostly down south, so we had a different experience with music. Everyone here grew up in New York, so they heard different things at different times. I heard more southern artists first, and I could tell you how I felt through like the feeling of before they made commercial, basically how it took an effect down south.
Yeah.
And they're saying how it was affected up here, and yeah, continue what you're
Yeah. No, I mean that's essentially it, and I think that's segueing into something that's a little newer.
No disrespect to the artists.
No disrespect to the artists.
No
No.
disrespect to the artists.
I think Boosie and Gucci and Webby, they're all really fantastic artists
Gucci is
now.
the GOAT.
As they've matured, I think they've gotten a lot better.
Gucci's the GOAT, bro.
Go to what?
I mean, when you just look at his impact,
I think he just meant he's a GOAT.
He's a GOAT. I mean, when you look at his impact,
He's definitely a GOAT.
When you look at his impact,
Like a
today,
bad GOAT.
he has more of an impact than Webby. I think he has more of an impact than Webby and T.I.
He had no.
And Lil Boozy.
No.
Yeah.
The T.I. one,
today's rap.
the
Yes,
T.I.
he
one
does.
may be a bit too far.
Where's T.I.'s impact?
The only
I put T.I. up there with him.
You're looking at music catalog, and I'm looking at the way the youth views him.
No.
If we're talking about the way the youth views him, how you leave out Jeezy?
Because I think Gucci,
Had a bigger impact?
You can put Jeezy in there too, but it still strengthens my point that Gucci has a bigger impact than both of them.
I don't.
The top artist ever, like in within the last like what 20 years, on top is Gucci, T.I. Jeezy is there, but I don't think he has the same impact like he used to. I think T.I. do.
Right.
T.I. do, Gucci do, and Gucci got had the streets on lock. But then this whole when he got locked up, then he started getting more commercially on lock. But then the streets caught up with the commercially, and that's how it became more solidified that he ran the South basically. But T.I. been had the game, the streets and commercial, because he was all in the
Right.
movies and stuff like that.
No, for sure.
But I wouldn't put one over the other, because I feel like they both essentially brought a lot to the game. I don't know. That's definitely a debate. That's definitely a debate.
That's a debate that's been happening for the better part of probably a decade. Who's higher,
Like,
T.I. or
they say
Jeezy?
T.I. started trap music.
Jeezy
but
says
then
he
Gucci-
did.
But then Guwap is trap guy.
Right. It literally is an
That.
age for trap music. It's an age
I have an
old.
opinion that if you was to look at the youth, I think that, I mean, even if you look at the people that's on top, right? Just look at Migos, for instance. I'll just use that as an example. Artists like the Migos, I think artists like that would say they was more heavily influenced by Guap than they would T.I.
Gucci found them.
Yeah, I was about to say that Gucci
You
Gucci
could
has a hand in
find- You
that.
could find
Like
them.
they like he made sure his style was embodied in them.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
I mean,
when you listen to old Migos before anybody really knew, I guess up here knew what Migos who what it was, they sound just like Gucci, all of them.
But let's be honest.
I'm sure.
Because you find somebody
Especially
doesn't
Quavo.
mean that their sound is embodied in them. Because there's a lot of artists that are found by artists that sound nothing like them.
I'm not saying that's the case for every case. I'm
Right.
just saying for that.
Okay, but I don't think it's because he found them. I think that's because that's what they was influenced by.
Yes.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I think artists like Migos, I think artists like that in the game right now who have a position, I think they're more heavily influenced by Gucci than they would say T.I.
Well, I just want to say we're all wrong because the most influential hip hop artist in the 21st century, in my opinion,
Childish Gambino.
is Kid Cudi.
Yes. No, I actually don't.
It's actually
I don't
Kid Cudi.
disagree with that. Actually,
Alright,
he
we
changed the soundscape with the way
He changed the entire,
Look,
and I think
look,
every
change
artist
what you want.
now.
He changed the soundscape.
Great everything, but no in the South, no real niggas gonna say that.
Okay, I think you're.
I think that I don't think they would admit it, but it's true.
They gonna be like, kid, who?
Again, I don't think they're gonna admit it, but I think it's honestly true. And just look at hip hop now. We're looking at a time when, and back me up if I'm wrong, because as you all know or don't know, Kayla's the youngest one here. She's 21, so she's the youth.
Good baby.
I'll be used
She's
for
the baby.
most of those polls, so thank you.
But a lot of today's music really jumps into that.
I'm still a young rich nigga. What are you talking about?
Talking about mental health, being aware of circumstance, that what we would classify emo rap. You know what I mean? And a lot of artists today are exactly that. Look at the biggest artists today: Lil Uzi, Trippy, X. I guarantee you, all of them would have Cudi as one of their biggest influences because he made it cool enough to do. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're not.
You gonna say Drake?
I would totally say Drake. I would say Kanye. Kanye got inspired by Kid Cudi, and
I was
Kid
thinking
Cudi,
the same exact thing.
And Kid Cudi was signed to Kanye. Like, it's crazy how influential.
Or maybe
He's
Kid Cudi
been.
just got it from Kanye, and Kanye used him as a way to express that side of him.
That's an interesting way of looking at it, but you have to listen to, in my opinion, the greatest mixtapes in like the last 20 years. A Kid Named Cudi, to really understand like why 808s and Heartbreaks was made, and everyone says 808s and Heartbreaks was the album that changed hip hop, but it was influenced by a kid named CUZIN.
It was absolutely the mainstream album that changed the soundscape.
Yeah,
because Man on the Moon wasn't a mainstream success. It was.
I think it went gold.
Yeah, at this point it probably did.
It wasn't mainstream. Like I haven't listened to enough of his music to like really put an input. But that's because I know if I haven't, I know it's a lot of people that haven't either.
That'd be hard to make an argument for, because when you listen to a lot of music now, a lot of it's emo rap.
A lot of it.
I mean, even music that you wouldn't think is emo rap, and it's emo with melody.
Like XX Tour Life was huge.
I feel like we're missing one person that, okay, I don't think majority of his album is emo rap, but he spits real facts, and J. Cole, because he puts a lot of real stuff in his songs when it comes to
J. Cole stuff.
No, I mean, I agree. J. Cole is I think a big part of.
Count it up.
But you have to look at the youth hasn't attached to J. Cole.
They haven't, and I think that's a huge
because
problem.
of the way he sat. They don't.
Nah.
They don't.
They have
not as
in
much
the
as
way
they
that,
should.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But now he's linking up with all the younger rappers now.
Because he's smart. That's just because J. Cole's smart.
I think he's doing it for a reason. Even if you listen to one of the songs on his new album, he gives advice to the new rappers. He's telling them like, you have an influence.
Like he's really genuinely really trying to help them instead of like.
He is. He's trying to mentor them in a way.
I think the youth as far as rappers are concerned turned their back on J. Cole.
And I don't know why. I never understood that.
A lot of them look at him as
because
he's that annoying.
It was right in the middle of J. Cole was already statued as okay. Could we classify him as like in the class of like Jay-Z and stuff like that? No. What I'm saying, like in the old way of rapping. Because he
he had that boom bap flow.
And then when the new youngs came in, he was like right in the middle of that. And then he came out all the way left field with the conscious stuff. And the youngins wasn't on that.
I wouldn't.
He's always kind of been conscious.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that stuff is if you heard the Transition album, which I'll say it is just Born Sinner was the transitional album. If you want to see J. Cole go from being the mixtape rapper he was to the conscious rapper he is now, you have to listen to Born Sinner. It's the album that turns, because then the next album is 2014 Forest Hill Drive, which starts the conscious kick.
What can we define when we say conscious? Because I feel like we can find the same quality of content in earlier projects.
Okay, let me not say just conscious, cerebral, making you think about your circumstance, what it is you're doing, why you're doing it.
I think.
Could you think it's more of like him going through experiences and him now having that wise?
I don't think we're crediting him properly then, because I think when you listen to the warm up, I felt like he had that same content. He talked a lot about his personal experiences, like songs on his first album, like Lost Ones. You had that same quality of content in his mixtape when he first came out.
I know J. Cole coming out with some great stuff. Like his last album was amazing. The one before that was a little disappointing, but I know all rappers evolve into different styles, but like J. Cole's old mixtape game was a fool. Like he used to kill everyone on every track. Like for real.
No, for real.
Y'all go back and look at all his mixtapes and all the features. He killed everybody on every song.
At what point did that change? Because I still think he kills everybody.
Born Sinner.
You don't think he kills everybody he gets on track with?
So.
No. Because there's not many. I think there's like 2. No. Sorry. There are 4 total features. I think. 5.
So then I guess okay. So let me then
on Born Sinner.
Let me direct my question to Nathan then. Nate, I mean, what songs was he on that you don't think he bodied somebody on?
I mean, it's just I don't get the same energy that I get. Like he, I feel like when I listen to his thing, it's like he's in a fight and he's fighting. And this one is now is just like kind of just like which is probably maybe better for your career. I don't know. I don't know the whole logistics behind everything, but it's working out. You're still one of my favorite rappers. You know.
Okay. I mean,
I would just like to hear more like not like a battle rap, but the same energy type of thing, you know.
That's what I said. Born Sinner.
You feel like you're on. You feel like you listen to someone's track and be like, I wonder who had the best verse, and you're really trying to have the best verse.
It sounds like you're coming from like a nostalgia kind of way. Like you want him to sound like
there's a certain sound that you want
from his old music.
Like
an approach.
I want to know who had the best verse. That's it.
So sometimes this is what I was gonna say. This is why I'm telling you, like, Born Sinner is the transition because J. Cole hasn't had a feature.
That's what I'm saying. That's probably what I'm
Born
looking for.
Sinner.
Right.
No, J. Cole has had features in this.
Who?
Not much.
As far as him being on other people's songs? Okay.
No. I'm talking about people being on his songs, on his album.
His songs.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't had any.
Nah, he doesn't care for
Since
features.
2013, he hasn't had anyone on his song.
But I don't think
he did have that one guy. What's that one guy on his last album?
Kill Edward? That's J. Cole.
No, that's
J. Cole.
Not J. Cole. That's Kill Edward. Have some respect.
That's J. Cole with a deeper voice.
His alter ego, man.
But we're not counting that as a detriment, right? We're not saying that that's
No, we're not saying that's a detriment. But what Nate is saying is that he wants to see him on another song and watch him body that person on that song.
But
that's basically what I'm trying to say.
But not necessarily his song. We're just talking on.
It don't matter.
Right. So what I'm saying is he's had features with people since that album, which that album came out in 2011 or 12, I believe.
Well, Born Sinner?
Yeah.
Born Sinner came out in 2013.
Forest Hill Drive came out in 2014.
Forest Hill, yeah, right. 2014.
Ever since that album in 2013, he's had features and he's bodied people on songs.
No, I agree. I mean, he's had features. He bodied people on songs. But I think what made it worse just over the time with usage is that whole mentality of I'm gonna do this without features. Like I don't need none of you younger rappers, older rappers. I'm gonna do this all by myself, which didn't help.
At any time, would you have called J. Cole one of the kings of New York?
Yeah, at some point I would have.
I don't see why I would even say he was
one
not
of the
now.
first rappers to not be from New York and actually be kind of titled King of New York.
Yeah, I mean his career jumped off here.
No disrespect to all the legends like Jay-Z, that's ultimately out of New York.
I think when Kendrick
Quendrick. That's his name
right?
from now on. Quendrick.
Watch your mouth. That's how you know about to say a lie.
When Kendrick claimed he was king of New York, nobody questioned him. Nobody attacked him.
But that's crazy. Why are you gonna be from LA? Like LA is supposed, y'all, like in their heads, they feel like they're bigger than New York. Why would you come to New York?
He was being disrespectful on purpose.
But let's be honest, New York has been getting disrespected as far as that regard for a long time.
Yeah, that's,
when Snoop came in, when Snoop kicked the buildings down in the Dog Pound video, they've been doing that. Like it's been going on for years. It's not the first time that this has happened. But my point is just the idea. But that shows a lack of, I think, consistency from New York rappers. Like there's nobody to contend.
6ix9ine.
Oh, let's not do this.
We're gonna jump right back into that.
We just gonna jump right into that.
That's the hottest new rap out.
So we're gonna jump right into that. So let's do it then. So
I mean,
hottest new rap out 6ix9ine.
Mind you, this was an argument off air, so now this is gonna transition. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be honest. Let me just preface it.
Hold on. Before you start.
Okay.
What artists do you know from New York? Rainbow color hair. Crowd surfing.
You saying it like it's a positive and plus. I don't care.
You included rainbow color hair to separate.
It's about entertainment. It's about.
I'm not looking for my rappers to have rainbow hair, crowd surfing. I'm not looking for that.
Like, he gives every weirdo a chance to just express itself.
I think it's a great thing that you just called the King of New York a weirdo, though, because I don't think anybody that's ever held that crown has been called that. I think we should start there. For one,
all things. It's always time for new.
But okay, so let me preface it this way. I knew at some point.
I mean, not weirdo.
This was
bad way. Just look crazy.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. You had it right. I didn't want to have this conversation on air because I felt like the off-air conversation was already embarrassing enough for you. I didn't feel like when we had this conversation, I didn't think you was gonna bring it on air. But let's just name it this way. Cardi B is the king of New York.
Oh, we're doing a comparison.
Disagree.
We can definitely do the comparison.
There's no need to compare. I disagree.
Cardi B is the king of New York. She wears the crown for king and queen. She's unifying the belt.
I disagree.
Let's hear their argument.
But I'm gonna digress for a second.
Why are you unifying the belt?
Because there's nobody that can hold the mantle of king right now.
Why not?
Why not?
What do you consider?
Who would you put there?
Who would you, or what would you consider the qualifications to be named king of New York?
Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna tell you right now, this whole king and queen thing, in my personal opinion, is nonsense. Nobody who was calling themselves king of New York before Biggie was doing it. I mean, if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, and somebody was claiming to be king of New York before Biggie was claiming it,
no, I don't know.
You know what? Why do we always exclude Jay-Z?
Jay-Z at this point
I know he's solidified.
Nah,
as a god,
he's god level MC. He's on Rakim's level. You don't put Jay in
There's
the
no
conversation
breaking
with
that
these people
cement
now
like
at this point.
But at the same time, he's still in the game though.
He's on Mount Olympus at this point, bro. He's not on the same planet no more. He's on Mount Olympus.
He's not on a planet.
Yeah, he's on Mount Olympus.
Yeah.
Different
You don't
galaxy.
even-
There's no one you can really compare it to.
But once he does step off Mount Olympus, like with 444,
He's gonna die up there.
yeah, he shows us that he's king already. Whenever his godly feet touches this earth, every time he comes off Mount Olympus, he's king. He showed us on 444. He shut the industry down with that.
So that's the definition of a true king.
True.
So does that lead to say there's no real true king and queen, just the hottest?
Nah, because the hottest is relative, man. You could say who's hot, and that changes weekly. I mean,
but I can see not really now, but like any of these top rappers just fall off. I think Jay-Z he can't.
yeah, he's on a Mount Olympus.
Going back to our conversation about being a bust, that's what happens. You just fall off. Like 6ix9ine tomorrow can be garbage, make garbage music, and then we forget about him, which is the same thing we did. Do you remember? This is back in One Hit Wonder days. Do you remember Mims?
Mims.
Yeah, man.
This is why I'm hot.
One hot song. Everybody thought it was gonna be.
I think he had two.
Or Young Jock. You remember Young Jock?
Young Jock, don't do that. Young Jock's one was way better than Mims.
Yeah, but still short-lived.
Talking about
But Jock is on
talking about the dude that wore the dress.
Huh?
Talking about the dude that wore the dress.
Did Jock wear that?
Yeah, he wore
Let's not disrespect Jock, because he definitely rebranded himself pretty well with Love and Hip Hop. I think he did a good job.
I don't think anybody rebrands themselves well with Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, he did actually.
It's better than nothing. It is better than nothing.
Yeah, Love and Hip Hop is better than nothing, but it ain't much.
There's a few people that rebranded themselves with Love and Hip Hop.
CARDI.
That's about
K.
it.
Michelle got a whole new music career after Love and Hip Hop.
I guess.
I don't know. She wasn't as big as she was.
I guess.
I mean, as far as what, popularity?
Yes.
I mean, so what? I mean, the show was. I mean, look, my thing is this: we're talking about the way she's
Michelle can
viewed,
sing, though.
right?
Not
I
for
think
nothing.
K. Michelle,
Not
nobody
as-
cared about her music before she went to Love and Hip Hop. They cared for that one song, and then it died, and then she went to Love and Hip
Who
Hop. and they
benefited
cared
the
again.
most off of Love and Hip Hop?
CARDI,
CARDI.
Basically.
easily. No one, not even come close.
Not even people on there right now.
How do you go 6-time platinum off of one song, and you don't even start nowhere but Love and Hip Hop? Like Love and Hip Hop pretty much made her who she was.
No, I agree. I agree.
And
It
she's
was a good
6-time
jump
platinum. And she has 2 #1 records. Nicki Minaj has 0. Sorry.
I mean,
Like Sion, Love and Hip Hop.
it didn't make sense for me to compare the two. Honestly,
It's not a comparison.
Nicki's a better MC. Than
It's not a comparison.
It is. Nicki's a better MC.
It's not a
period.
comparison anymore because Nicki Minaj has already proven that without Safari she can't make another hit.
Wow.
That is disrespectful. Wow.
I'm sorry, but he has CARDI
Yeah,
tatted on his
he
chest.
does. He does.
I can show you
Alright.
out, man.
He
But
does.
listen,
Apparently,
listen,
that's
though,
everything.
Nick,
to him.
listen,
Still
we-
holds weight.
We could do the timeline. What had she had since Safari?
She hasn't dropped an album since.
Yeah, she did.
When?
Pink Print was a hit.
That was after. That was like immediately after they were
That was
separated.
after Safari left.
And Pink Print was a dope album.
What hit she had on that?
She had Only, which was on there. She had oh, you're making me name it off the top of my head, and I hate doing that. I'm terrible with song names.
I mean, you could look it up. I'll give you time.
You know.
And I'll continue to give my hot takes.
She had that song
I
Aventador.
personally don't think that Nicki Minaj
But how about Nicki Minaj
made a smart decision by getting rid of
taking
Safari.
over the city with Fifi?
That song is doomed, by the way.
Nah, that song is dope.
Come on, you a
Coming from the
hater.
coming from the person that think that new
Come on.
DJ Khaled song is dope.
I
That song
I
is
think
hot
DJ Khaled's song
garbage.
caters to the radio a lot better.
But I'm
That
saying,
song
like,
is
you're
whack.
all the way CARDI, which is cool.
No, I'm not.
But to just be like,
Anytime somebody gets
Just
on the
to be
record
like,
and
just-
says
hold on.
"Eeny, meeny, miny, mo," catch a
There was
girl
a
by
lot
her
of bops
toe,
on
I'm
that
deleting
album.
the song off my playlist.
just because you don't like the song, don't make
Only
it. It's not a hot
truffle
song.
butter.
Where
Like,
she
you
had
gotta
truffle
have
butter, she
your
had
ear
anaconda,
open to
pills and potions.
Other people's life.
Night is still young was still
If you're
popular.
asking me to
At least
migrate
5.
away from my personal opinion, I'm gonna say the song is gonna work because you have one of the hottest artists in New York. collabing with one of the hottest artists of New York of all time. So it's gonna work.
That's not
but
a
the
guarantee.
song is still trash.
Like
That's
when I
not a
listen to the
guarantee,
song,
though.
I'm ready to catch him crowd surfing.
It's fine. And he could sing Any Mini Money Mo while he's crowd surfing, but the song is still trash.
I can agree on the fact that he is the hottest artist.
He's
But
for
like,
sure.
but like you,
Hottest
but like
artist in the world.
if you
I mean,
want
you could make that
Because New
argument.
York
If
is
you
the
want
hottest
to.
You might as
city
well,
in
you
the
might as
world.
well scream Treyway every
But
time
we all
you talk
know-
about.
but we all know hottest don't last
Hottest
a
don't
lot,
last.
so
I think
that's
it'd be-
the only reason I give it to you.
I think it'd be dope if 6ix9ine and Cardi B had a record.
I'm sure that's been
I think
put
it would
out
be
there,
dope
the fact
if
that it
people
They
has-
would
stop.
force this guy to like him a little bit.
If the song is trash, it's gonna be trash. It doesn't take away from the fact that Cardi's still the king.
He
I
hasn't
want-
made a trash
I
song
mean,
yet.
I think it'd be dope for the King of New York to get on the track with Tekashi. I think it'd be dope because I felt like with his energy and Cardi's energy, it'd be
But
more,
he's
it'd be better
already
than Nicki.
the king of New York. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You want to unify the belt. There's no reason to unify the belt.
There is.
No,
There's
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 not.
nobody to take the mantle.
You, in your
Okay,
opinion.
so who you gonna give it to? I'm asking you.
6ix9ine.
6ix9ine.
6ix9ine?
Right now.
6ix9ine's hottest record only went number 12.
That doesn't mean you have the. It doesn't mean that you
Okay,
should
so-
unify
so
the
how does he
belt.
become?
Listen to me,
I can
listen
give
to
you
me.
other New York artists that have better songs. But
Go ahead, go.
When?
Right now.
Recently?
Give me
Right now.
Finish your point, and I'm.
No, I want to hear it because
Maybe A Boogie.
no, because
No.
because A Boogie is dope, but A Boogie ain't charting higher than 6.
He's not.
Well, y'all keep going to charts, right? Let's go to charts, cause
What the charts?
You brought up the charts, not us.
no. But y'all going to charts as far as Tekashi, as if that's an argument that's helping you. When Tekashi's other song,
We're talking about.
Let me-
Alright, so
let me-
you're
let me-
saying if we
but
don't
wait.
unify the belt,
let
Yeah,
me
because there's no reason
who
to
would it
unify
be?
the belt.
let me preface it by this. Again, Tekashi, his hottest song charted at 12. His next song that charted was at 43.
That doesn't mean that there's a reason to unify the
The
belt.
only reason why we're talking about Tekashi is because he's popping socially.
No,
Let's not act like
that is
Tekashi's
not.
music is
That is-
reaching
it is,
levels
though.
that no, it's not.
It is.
It's
So
not.
okay,
No, it's not.
but we did
No, it's
bring
not.
up a point. If the belt is ununified, who is your king? And you said that there were plenty others. Who?
No. I never. First of all, you're switching my point. I never said if anything. I'm not ununifying the belt. But there is nobody.
There is no reason to unify the
is.
belt.
Who?
That's what I'm
6ix9ine.
asking.
Okay, if Cardi's the queen, then we have to put the king on a similar level, right? Their numbers don't match, not even close.
That's like. So, who would be in your eyes then the equivalent to Jay-Z, but for women in New York?
At what time?
in New York?
At
First
what
of all,
time?
let's just make sense of this
Ever.
now.
You can't.
A king
you
is
can't.
male. Let's put that.
You mean on Mount Olympus? Because
together.
I got Jay-Z on Mount Olympus at this point.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about. I'm talking about on that.
If you go on Mount Olympus, then there's other artists like Queen Latifah all time or
Nope.
Lauryn Hill long
Nope.
time. Why not?
Numbers don't match.
You mean the numbers don't? It's
The numbers don't match. That's what you said.
So let's go. So continue your point.
If we're talking Jay, are you really going to try to compare the numbers of Jay-Z?
I'm not saying they're
And
gonna
no
be
disrespect.
identical, but allow them to be at
I'm
some
not saying
point.
Cardi and 6 is
I'm
going to
not
be
saying if
identical.
Cardi got
but there's a
if Cardi got
difference.
3 number ones. I'm not saying Tekashi got to have 3, but you gotta at
it
least.
sound- but it
if you're
sounds
not
like
gonna
that's
be,
what you're saying.
No. But if she's got number 1, you at least got to be top 5 somewhere. Somewhere. He's not even top 5 yet. If she got 3 number 1s, at least be top 5 on the U.S. billboards. He's number 12, and then everything else is 43 and under.
Again,
He's not even
I'm
in the
not
ballpark.
arguing with the numbers.
He's not even close, bro.
But my argument is that there's no need to unify.
You know what's sad is the fact that we're giving Tekashi the king of New York by default.
He could lose it like next week.
Then that's
not
not
by
the king.
default.
And
It's not
That's
by
not the
default.
king. That means he's hot.
No.
He's
It's not
been
by
hot for a
default.
while, though.
Yeah.
That- He's been hot for a while because
Not
of
to
what?
you.
For what though?
For his songs and
Fam.
social media stuff.
Gumo came out a
Fam.
long time ago.
How are you hot for your songs and your second best song is only charting at 43?
Out of 100 million people in the world.
Come on, but Cardi got 2 number 1 hits out of 100 million people in the world.
Look,
Every other song is in the top 10.
I think you're hung up on her number 1. You just said
I'm
it
looking-
doesn't matter. When I
No.
tried to compare Lauryn Hill and Jay-Z.
No. I said it doesn't have to be identical. So I actually gave y'all some rope. I said, look, if he doesn't have a number 1 hit, fine. But at least come into the ballpark. He can't even come into the same building because he's not even in the top 10. One time in his career. So how you even gonna try to match the numbers when they don't even come close?
What are you talking about? They don't come close. He was 12.
Cardi is 1. He's not even top 10.
It don't matter.
After the Gumo, what other tracks came close to that?
Let's see. Gumo was 12, Kiki was 43, and Fifi hasn't been able to chart yet.
And Fifi, and I will give y'all this. Fifi, more than likely, I would hope it will be a #1 song.
And Gumo went platinum.
But you never know.
First of all, I haven't even
platinum.
heard the song Fifi.
Yes, I heard it more than once.
Yeah, what's your take on it?
I didn't like it.
Okay, so what I'm saying is you don't like 6ix9ine.
Yeah, you do have a bias
I
against
do
him.
not. It's not that I don't like
'cause,
6ix9ine.
like,
I actually think 6ix9ine.
Also, I just want to point out his
It's
album
like-
charted
like
4.
6ix9ine,
His album charted
and I
4.
think he's entertaining. But I think he's overrated musically. I think people play 6ix9ine in certain elements musically that he shouldn't be.
But I feel
His
like
album
that's his
charted
personality. He's writing with the music. Same thing Cardi does.
Cardi's numbers match her
Cardi's
celebrity.
personality come out
But
first.
her
and then-
music
that is true.
matches her celebrity.
Her music had to catch up to her celebrity.
But it matches her celebrity.
It got there eventually.
Tekashi's hasn't matched his celebrity yet.
It got there
Because people
eventually.
care more
But-
about, when you think of Cardi, at this point in her career, people actually like Cardi as much as they like her music. People with 6ix9ine, they like his trolling and they find him entertaining.
Right, but the numbers don't
way
but-
more than
but-
his
but-
music.
It's either they love him or they hate him. There's no in between.
But you're saying the numbers don't
Him,
reflect that.
not his
What I'm
music.
trying to tell you is his album,
I
when
love
he
his
dropped
music.
it, the body of work. Now we're not talking singles. We're talking body of work. Peaked at 4. You're talking he didn't even have a top 5 because of his singles. His album was #4. I'm 100% sure Cardi's was #1. I guarantee you.
That goes without question, but I'm listening.
But he's #4. So again, you're saying, oh, he's not the king of New York because you're basing it off of his singles when the entire body of work that he put out got up to #4. There's no reason to unify the belt when in your top 5 you have 2 people from New York. Cardi's the queen, he's the king until someone dethrones him.
Tekashi,
I'm not saying he's the best artist in New York though.
Okay.
Because I think Joey's better. I think Cole is a better artist. I obviously think they're a better. I think A Boogie is a more versatile artist than 6ix9ine is, but none of them are as hot.
Yep. Again, we're not talking musically. We're talking personality-wise.
Well, I'm talking
No one is-
musically.
Okay, come on.
And then we're talking about
musically is
in
hot.
New
What do you
York.
mean?
We're
What do
talking
you mean
about
they're
in
not
New
as
York.
hot as Tekashi 6ix9ine musically. We already seen that he's not charting. So where's the hot?
I just told you he's charted 4.
His album is #4.
He
His
charted.
music, bro.
That's the
His
music.
music
That's the
is
music.
still his singles is the okay. Let's say this. Let's preface it this way. Are the singles the driving force behind the albums?
Of course.
So how are the singles at 43?
And the album go to 4? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe people actually like him. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Him. And I will say this again.
Well, what's
I
the
like
matter with that?
6ix9ine. I like him as an entertainer. I think he's a troll.
Wouldn't
and I
you want a
love it.
king that you like?
Fam, I want to like his music. If I'm putting him as a
Look,
king, I want his
Apparently,
music as much
we're
as him.
at the point where there's no change in your mindset
There
about
is none.
this.
The numbers are there. There's
The
no
number-
change.
What numbers are we talking about, bro?
The
What numbers are we
you
talking
brought-
about?
the
Because you
numbers
just said
brought-
numbers. He's at 43, fam. What numbers?
U.S. Billboard, the U.S. Billboard 200 peaked at #4 for him.
The fact that y'all are giving somebody that tracks seem to only peak at 43 except one song that didn't crack the top 10 and y'all crowning him king.
The
that
album.
What the takeaway from this is this. We are in a sad place in New York rap. Period.
I don't think so.
I don't think so
You don't-
either.
you don't
I
think
think
so?
I think this is one of the best times.
When
in
we
years.
have somebody crowned as king and they can't crack the top 10 in any song that they drop. They can't crack top 10.
But who
It's
says
sad.
that's the criteria?
you know
Who else held the crown that wasn't able to do
But
that?
he did crack the top 10 though.
What song has he dropped that cracked top 10?
Didn't that Gumo?
Gumo.
12.
No. Gumo peaked at 12, went
Oh, so
platinum.
2 spots behind. Is just
Okay,
not-
so can we
not
do this?
qualified.
Yo,
But he's excluding the
Yo,
album.
I'm
We're
not excluding
you
the
are.
album. I'm
You are.
not,
But let me
bro.
tell you, the only other
Alright.
person that would have taken over 6ix9ine's status as king of New York this year would have been Rocky.
Nah.
Yeah, Rocky's the
I think-
only
I
one
think
that
A
would have
Boogie.
taken
I
that.
think A Boogie.
And that's because Rocky's a hotter artist than A Boogie is. Rocky has
I
a
think A
larger
Boogie's
reach.
hotter.
A Boogie is a good artist, but I don't think he's hotter than A$AP Rocky. That's a hard one to try to convince people.
You know who I do want to see step up?
So ASAP Rocky also debuted at number 4.
Also debuted at 4, yeah.
I want to see Casanova.
So that criteria still stays the same, right?
Yeah, criteria still stays the same.
Ridiculous.
If
Ridiculous.
6ix9ine and Rocky's albums both did 4, you can make the argument either one of them right now is the king of New York. But do you know? But do you know why I put 6ix9ine? Is because the letter, he doesn't take his foot off the gas. He is number 1 because he's continuously going out with something.
What is he going out with, bro?
New music. Fifi's a brand new
what was
single
that?
that
what
wasn't
was before
on.
that he has his foot on the gas.
He did Gotti. He did the video for Gotti. He had Kuda.
Gotti
had Kiki. He had Kumo.
And it's funny because Gotti has not gotten a single certification, and its peak position is 99.
It doesn't matter. The point that I'm making is that both of their albums peaked at 4, and it seems like right now Rocky is great with doing that at 4.
So now you got to break it down to individual songs, right?
No, I'm not.
Because we just said at 4, so they cancel each other out. 4, because body of work, they're 4.
And now I'm saying, who's continuing? Who's still putting their foot on the gas and going for more? And it's
when
not
you
Rocky.
say more, it's like it's really underwhelming, these songs you're giving me, because they're not doing anything as far as charting. They're not doing anything.
Rocky hasn't come out with anything new since Testing.
I'm looking at Gotti. I said, that's your song.
Fifi's the last one.
That's
to come
crazy
out
how that's your song, and that's his worst charted song.
He's top ranked in all streaming platforms. I know. Oh, we don't go by that now.
Go ahead, man.
I feel like. What do you think?
I'm listening to the point.
What do you think? Give me. I want to know what you think.
When he tops billboards, how consistent is that? I'm not just talking about that one song that hit the top 10 or whatever. I mean, in his album. I'm just saying. I feel like he could be easily dethroned. Like.
I don't disagree.
Very easily. I feel like he could be dethroned. I'm not taking that from him.
Can't.
I know. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I'm giving y'all the benefit of the doubt that he can be the king of New York, along with Cardi. But he could be dethroned so easily, and I don't see that happening as easily for Cardi that I do for 6ix9ine. I just don't see it.
I 100%.
He doesn't
That's
have.
actually
It's like a
great point.
It's like his foundation is so. His foundation like constantly needs work compared to Cardi's, where hers has been building the past couple years.
But then the question is. Who?
That's okay, but that can stay the question because we don't know.
But
so
until then, he's the king.
Okay, but I'm just saying, his royalty isn't guaranteed to stay because his foundation is so weak.
Right now,
he can have it. He can have it.
Right.
Because there is no king. But Cardi is staying on that throne.
This goes back to my point when I said, yeah, if anything, you would give Tekashi the king of New York by default. Not by anything else but default, because there would be nobody else you could put
who else is challenging?
Fam, he has no numbers. Don't use that as an argument.
Compared to everyone next to him,
who's
then it's by default because his numbers are trash.
Can you name me another artist who's trying?
His numbers not trash.
His numbers are trash. Bro,
but
Gotti charted at 99.
You focused on the numbers. Who can try to take the mantle away?
Is doing better.
So let me say this once again, so you guys don't have to ask me the same question. You're giving him the crown by default because there is no one else that would take king.
I'm giving the crown to someone who's doing the work. True, the numbers aren't as good as Cardi's. I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm giving the crown to someone who's doing the work.
Forget Cardi for a second. Let's just say
New York male artist right now.
Let's just forget Cardi for a second and look at the fact that there is a lapse in male artists.
I'm not disagreeing, but right now
so then you're giving him to default.
No, he is just the highest charting New York artist. Whoever's under him, they could probably easily dethrone him, like Kayla said.
I don't think so.
But who is that?
That sounds like you're giving somebody something by default. Like right now, I'm giving it to you because there's not a lot of competition. But at any moment, if somebody comes out and they hot, I gotta move you. That's by default.
But that's not by default. It's just whoever's first.
Because if somebody was in the game right now and they seem to chart in the top 10 every time they drop, and it was a guy, Tekashi's the king of New York, and they album peaked at number 3.
Who? I'm asking who that person is.
You can name anybody. ASAP did that. Is he the king of New York?
Right now, the competition between him and
I didn't say right now. I said if those were the numbers, would he be king of New York?
If he had the same numbers as Tekashi?
I'm gonna say it again. If he peaked at number 3, right? But every time he dropped, let's say he had as many songs in 2018 as Tekashi, but instead of peaking at 43, he's peaking in the top 10. It doesn't have to be number 1, but top 10.
But he's number 3.
But he peaked at let's say number 4.
Okay,
they tied. With those criteria and those numbers, would he be crowned New York?
Yeah.
Look, but because that's not in place, right? And despite the fact that Tekashi's charting numbers are terrible, he has to be king of New York.
No, you're saying they're terrible. He's charted he charted in the first 50th percentile of the top 100.
And then also we're talking about a guy who doesn't have a label behind him pushing a lot of money behind him.
And I just want to point out,
now we're talking about money.
No.
Cares about that
we're
anymore.
talking about Hot 100. We're talking about Hot 100 in every single genre, not just rap music. We're talking about the Hot 100 and that includes pop, country, world music, jazz, classic.
So having a big
43.
machine behind you doesn't matter?
Not as much as it used to.
Because I could have sworn if Cardi just came out with a record before she got big, wouldn't nobody care about it?
She did drop a record before. Bro, she dropped Bodak Yellow before she was on the machine.
Before everybody knew who she was.
She dropped Bodak Yellow.
She got popularity through Love and Hip Hop, and then
Bodak Yellow.
But then she had a label
after Bodak Yellow. After Bodak Yellow. After the success of Bodak Yellow, the machine was on her back.
But what I'm saying, you look at 6ix9ine, the way he's getting on, like clout chasing, whatever, and you're downplaying that, but at the same time, he's building popularity the same way CARDI. It's not the same way, but she had to build up popularity.
But I never said he didn't build popularity. I'm saying it's not because of his music. And
well, basically what we're saying
his numbers are reflecting that.
All right, this is the argument it's going to. You're saying that CARDI is the king and queen of New York. Cool. We're saying you can't unify the belt, and if we didn't unify the belt, we would make 6ix9ine the king.
And then my argument to that is you're giving it to him by default because there is nobody else to give it to.
But there is.
Who?
I would say A Boogie.
You wouldn't give it to A Boogie.
Well, what I'm saying is you're.
Why would you give it to A Boogie?
You're arguing our opinion.
I'm not arguing your opinion. I'm arguing your reason for doing it. I'm saying you're doing it because there's nobody else to give it to.
It is. Who? You just said like A$AP Rocky. He would give it to him.
You could totally give it to A$AP.
He was competing.
And why would you give it to A$AP?
Because of the performance of their album.
Not just because of the performance of the album.
That's how it is.
If 6ix9ine is doing better than them, how is it default? That we can say the same thing about CARDI.
He's doing better than him because of his antics, not because of his music.
You are discrediting so much work.
Yo, I'm not. I don't care about personal opinion.
You don't like his music.
You right?
No, it's not even.
I love all his songs.
And that's the problem. It sounds biased because when I'm looking at
from
the
your
facts,
end too.
It don't.
No.
From you.
I'm looking at the facts. CARDI has 2 #1 hits.
We're not arguing.
2 #1s.
We're not arguing that.
All right. So how am I biased on what then? So what am I biased on?
Because you're pointing out the fact that it's by default.
But where's my bias coming at? If we're not talking about CARDI, where's my bias?
What I'm saying is, you're saying CARDI is the king and queen. Cool.
Forget CARDI, because you said we're not talking about CARDI.
We're talking about if we did ununify the belt.
Because there's no reason to unify.
Where does my bias come in at?
Your bias comes in at is because you're saying if he was #1 by default. Let me ask you a question. If Rocky was no. If Rocky was number 4, right? And let's say A Boogie was number 4, and it wasn't Tekashi, right? And Rocky was the first one. Would Rocky be the king by default?
And Tekashi, yeah.
No. If it was A Boogie and if it was between Rocky and A Boogie, they both charted #4. Would Rocky be king of New York by default?
Yes.
I would absolutely say he would be by default. But that's
because of his seniority.
No, go ahead.
Compared to A Boogie.
But they both charted at #4.
I get it.
What else did he do? That don't make you king of New York because you chart at 4. First of all, having a #4 record and we're making that a king is trash. When we look at everybody else that had that crown, no one's charting at #4 and we're like, he's the king. Give him the crown.
He's like, that's trash. But we're talking about out of the entire industry of music.
I hate the fact that we've gotten to a place in music where we're now crowning people based off of lackluster success musically. I'm not saying the king doesn't have
lackluster success musically.
Oh my God! Let's look at everybody that had the crown. Who else would you consider a king of New York? Let's go down.
Nas, Jay-Z.
You mean to tell me that these artists that you're naming were not having these numbers?
Come on, we passed that. We sounding old. We're sounding old when we bring them up.
Because now you're gonna go to clout. Because if we're sounding old and we're not looking at chart, what else are we looking at?
I'm not saying we're not looking at chart, but music has changed.
Forget the music sound. We're talking about the reach.
It is a big thing.
Reach.
reach.
It is a big
We're
thing.
talking reach now,
It's
because
a
if we're not talking
different
charge,
game.
It is a way.
But can we also talk about the fact? Okay, how long did it take?
Charge, then what are we talking about?
How long did it take for Nas or Jay-Z to become kings
But it's a
of New York?
different
It took Nas
game.
one album.
Explain yourself.
One album?
'Cause you
And-
keep saying it, but what do you
Took
mean?
him one
Social
album.
media
To
and
become-
internet now.
Yeah,
King
because
of
big-
New
That
York.
means it's faster connectivity to people.
But what are they
It's not
connected
as
to?
long
Illmatic
as
was
a
that good.
build
What are they
enough.
connected to?
Illmatic's an instant classic.
Okay, and Jay-Z.
And
What are they
Jay-Z
connected to with the artist? Their music or
Here's
them?
the thing with
Music and
Jay-Z.
Okay, so why is it that their music, his music,
Hold
is
on.
not peaking? Because if the popularity was that strong, the way it is, like Cardi, how her personality was strong, it translated into the sales and the music and how she's charted.
Cardi's smart, yeah.
Okay, so-
and I'm gonna get into that. in
Okay,
a
so I'm
second.
gonna kill us all. What male artist in New York is charting higher than him right now?
But that's my point.
What's
You're
the,
giving
that's
it
the
to
question.
him.
That's
So
the question.
nobody.
So no. Can I ask you a
Okay.
question?
So you're giving it to him by
So
default.
basically,
so-
he
so-
just
so-
agreed
did I just
to
say
what
that?
we were
So
just
it's Cardi.
saying.
No. It's Cardi
said
the queen
Nobody's
of New
messing
York.
with him on the charts. Male, not Cardi. We passed that.
So
you
then
made your
that,
opinion.
so that's what that means, bro. In case you didn't understand, when you give somebody something by default, that means there's nothing else to challenge them.
But you
No, that's not what that means.
So tell me.
Default's not
So
that.
yeah,
one.
tell me.
You're doing
Default.
the same thing with
Default
Cardi.
is the
How?
base.
Who's competing with her right now?
First of all, there's no female presence the way there is.
So
males.
Cardi's queen of New York by default.
but you just
No, there's Nicki too, but
No.
she's not contending.
No. So she's not by default. So how? Do you just see the bias that you just had?
No, it's not a bias.
don't.
He has
On
a
every
stronger.
which way with this.
He
Do
has
you see
a,
the bias that I just
he has a
pointed out?
stronger battle with Nicki Minaj than Tekashi has with any of the male artists.
So you saying Tekashi doesn't have anything to worry about if Rocky's right behind them?
I don't think Rocky's right behind him though. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my
I don't think
God.
so. So
Wow.
who? Okay, so there's Nicki Minaj and then there's Tekashi, right? I mean, sorry, no. There's Cardi B and then there's Tekashi.
what number
Underneath-
you are on Cardi's team?
Let me go under Cardi B and say Nicki's her biggest competition, right?
Okay.
Under Tekashi, who's on Nicki Minaj's level that could challenge him
A$AP.
like that? ASAP is on Nicki Minaj's level.
Yep.
You agreeing to that?
Yep. I think anybody who doesn't agree to that is wild.
I don't agree to that.
Long live ASAP.
I think Nicki has a better rep than
What?
ASAP.
like
You're putting-
we're talking about Grammy nominated,
Man.
long
But
live
we're not
ASAP
fair,
artist.
though.
But I'm looking at their competition. Cardi's competition, right underneath her number two is stronger than any number two that you put for Tekashi,
You're-
son.
I'm not arguing the clout
That's
that
not
Nicki
that's not what I'm
has,
saying.
But that's what I'm trying
but
to
you're
say.
discrediting.
It's not by default because Nicki's number two she's right here.
We're talking ASAP.
Who
How
is-
are you valuing him so low?
I'm not valuing him low.
Clearly you
I'm
are.
not valuing him low. I'm just not giving him that much credit.
That's
You
valuing
are.
him low.
No, that doesn't mean that. That just means that I'm not
But he
crediting
hasn't
him
done
too
the
high.
same like Nicki did in the game.
How many great albums would you say Nicki has?
So you mean to tell me I have to overcredit somebody? If I don't, then I'm devaluing them?
I'm asking you. Like we're
I'm
talking.
telling you
we're talking body
that I
work,
do not
'cause
credit ASAP as high as you.
ASAP and Nicki came out relatively around the same time, right? So they have the same
No, they
amount
did
of.
not.
They have
First
the
of all,
same
Beat Me Up
amount
Scotty
of
came
years.
around like 2008, 2009. Nicki been out.
All right, we're talking. Well, you're talking freestyle. I'm talking body of work, mixtape,
Beat Me Up Scotty
albums.
can compete
everything.
against anybody's mixtape. What are you talking about?
Now we're talking. Let's talk debuts, right? We're talking debuts. What was Nicki's debut? It was
I mean,
Oh, what was it called?
I think this
Pink
is
something.
like it's getting to a point
Pink
where
Friday.
now the conversation is getting
Yeah,
crazy.
Pink
'cause
Friday. It was
we
Pink
comparing
Friday. And you look
Rocky
at
to Nicki.
ASAP's debut album, just as dope. He pulled big names. We
but
talking
I
Drake.
don't know if it
French.
hit worldwide though, like Nicki did.
Do you remember? Let me pull up his
But
discography.
I'm saying, but you living in New York, it's different. He's from New York.
no, that is
Like
that,
when
no,
I
that's
was
very
down
true.
south when he came out with Pink Friday, like
Very true.
I didn't hear it.
Nicki had the advantage also of, I guess, starting down south
She's starting with Wayne.
before she came up
That's the
here and got
advantage she
big.
had.
No, that is a huge advantage. But for him to say, "Oh, Cardi's number two,"
Well, she was really with Gucci first, but
no, she
we'll
was.
get to that.
But for him to say that Cardi's number two is automatically better than Tekashi's number two, that's what makes Cardi's crown not by default. That makes no sense. We're talking one of the largest artists in ASAP Rocky in the world. You can't go in music anywhere and no one say, "Oh, I don't know who ASAP Rocky is," or
I don't know about
or the collective
I
that
don't know
he
about that.
So
started.
honestly, bro, I'm not gonna hold you, bro. Like at first, I felt like this was gonna be a competitive discussion, but the moment you started trying to compare ASAP Rocky's impact to Nicki Minaj's, you kind of like fell way off the cliff.
It's not even close.
I'm not comparing their impact. I'm comparing the clout that you're giving them.
Nicki Minaj's reach is 30 times bigger than ASAP's.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that
Cardi's competition is stronger with Nicki than Tekashi's is with with ASAP.
Agree. Okay, I agree. But do you want to know why? Name me the third place in that.
In what? There is no third place in New York rap. Like, who we giving it to?
Forget New York rap. Name me a third place in rap.
I mean, okay, so let me not say that because I don't know. Is Rhapsody from New York?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so then yeah, there is no third place.
There is none.
There's no third place. I mean, you would say Remy. You would put Remy up there. So yeah, I'd say Remy at third.
Plato Oploma wasn't even her album. It was a joint album.
It doesn't matter. She'd still be third because who would you put at third?
By default.
I was gonna say if we put Remy, that would have to be by default. But
yeah, so who are you gonna put there outside of Remy, right? So
nobody.
All right, so we agree that
but now we're looking at, now we're looking at
right.
Tekashi, and unfortunately, hip hop being the super male skewed genre that it is, he has a whole list of people that he has to compare with.
But what I'm saying is,
ASAP, we're talking about Cole, we're talking about A, we're talking about J, we're talking
Cole
about
is not from New York. Cole's not from New York.
Cole is not from New York, but he's a New York rapper.
He doesn't rep New York like he reps North Carolina and Fayetteville. No, he doesn't.
He's a New York
but he doesn't rep it the way he does his home state.
Of course he wouldn't.
All right, so he's not from New York.
I'm not putting Cole there.
Cole's not from New York.
Cole up there.
Cole's not from New York. And we're not going to do, he went to school out here and he mentioned us a few times, so he's from New York. He's not from New York.
As much as
I think biologically you don't want to put him in New York, but he's a New York rapper.
He's not a New York rapper.
His career started here. His career began here.
His career didn't start in New York.
His career kicked off here.
Huh?
Cole.
J. Cole.
Oh no. He comes to New York. He's not from New York. He's Fayetteville.
He's not born in New York. He is a New York rapper.
He's not a New York rapper.
He is a
what part of New York is he repping? He's a New York rapper. Where he repping?
I don't care what he's repping.
That matters though.
That matters. I don't care.
It matters to every single rapper that raps.
If does semantics of Nicki being like the queen of queens, I don't care about any of that.
No, she calls her. She's from South Jamaica, Queens, and she reps that.
I don't care about any of it. I don't care, honestly.
Tekashi reps Brooklyn. He reps that. A Boogie represents the Bronx, and he announces that. I'm just saying though. But I'm saying when you talk about New York rappers, it matters because you gotta have somewhere to rep. Period. Name a New York rapper that doesn't rep a part of New York.
J. Cole rap Vietnam all day.
That's my point. Vietnam.
I mean, but when he do rep New York, I think he rep Queens though.
He did.
Yeah, he rep Queens.
He doesn't rep Queens. He mentioned Queens. He doesn't rep Queens.
He probably lived here longer than he lived down south.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
He went to college here, bro. He didn't live here longer than he lived down south.
He still lives here.
Son, we're talking about him being from New York. He's not a New York rapper.
I'm sorry. You know what? You're right. He doesn't. His birth certificate doesn't say New York.
Nah, you can't, cause now you're gonna preface that saying his birth certificate
that sounds like what you said.
As if he was 1 year old when he moved to New York. He was in
birth certificate doesn't say New York.
He went to college in New York.
Grew up, his childhood
so let me ask you a
in
question.
Fayetteville, North Carolina.
You moved to Florida when you're 18. You become a rapper. Now all of a sudden you're a Florida boy?
Are you a Florida boy?
Oh my God!
When did you move out of New York?
I quit. No, go ahead.
When did you move out of New York?
Quit on the first grade.
I don't know.
I digress.
I think I was like 10, 11.
10 or 11. Yeah. So you would say then you spent then the next.
He didn't move out. He didn't move out of New York.
Down south.
So do you consider yourself New York or North Carolina?
You moved out of here when you was 10 or 11. Hold on a second. 10 or 11? Because we went to junior high school together.
Yeah, I was there for the 7th grade, like the first month for the 7th grade.
That's not 10 or 11.
That's 12.
Right. Oh my God. 1 or 2 years.
We gotta get it right. Go ahead.
Hey.
But no, would you consider yourself New York or North Carolina?
See, I consider myself a New Yorker, but
he's gonna be 30.
But I'm saying, I represent. I'm a country boy now, so I don't know. I feel like I'm mixed.
So why can't Kobe?
Because he came here at 18, not 12.
That doesn't matter.
It matters.
It doesn't.
But who's to say that you make the standards for
right? That? You don't.
Again, it's not about me making the standards. It's about what's in his music.
I'm pretty sure hip hop artists or hip hop listeners, over like 70% of them would welcome J. Cole to.
You know what's so ill about this? Because y'all want to place another man where he belongs.
We did all of this to prove the fact that 6ix9ine is king of New York.
We did. Okay. This is ridiculous. We really are doing all of this to prove this.
But at the end of the day, did he make an album talking about I'm from Queens, or was the album called 2014 Forest Hill Drive?
2014 Forest Hills Drive.
And where is that located?
It could be located in either Queens
Where
or
is it?
North Carolina.
No. Where
you
is
think
it?
he didn't understand that?
God.
You think an artist as brilliant as J. Cole
because you're
didn't
making an argument
understand
to make an argument when you know that it was located in North Carolina.
Now we saying so
he reps North Carolina.
Age limit, or so we can't be represented.
What I'm saying is the man reps North Carolina. He does not.
like Tupac was from
So
Queens.
he's from North Carolina, not New York.
Tupac was from Queens. He rep LA.
Wow.
That he's not from Queens though. He's from LA, son. He was born here, but he reps
according
LA.
according to you, is
Nah, but he lived
it's
mostly in
rep.
DC
No,
or something like
so
that.
according to you, is where you rep, right?
It's about where he labels himself, where he's from.
Alright,
He represents himself as a North Carolina rapper. He does not represent himself as a New York rapper. Pot may have come from Queens, but he doesn't represent Queens. He represents LA. When he had that whole beef with the East Coast, he was repping LA, West Coast, not the East.
Oh my God.
Come on, like.
Y'all can see his eyes
I
popping out his head.
I could feel like I could wrap all of this up because it's like, okay, all of this came from the fact that we wanted to answer the question of what is a bust, right?
6ix9ine, King of New York.
What is a bust?
What is a bust, right? So what is your honest answer if I asked you who would become a bust first between the king and queen of New York, between CARDI and 6ix9ine, who would it be? Honest answer. I don't even know. No bias.
That's a hard question.
It's
because I honestly think that if we're talking whose bubble explodes first, it's close, but it's probably 6ix9ine's first.
I think 6ix9ine.
But I'm not using that to tell you that your answer is wrong about like him being the king of queen.
I think
New York,
his
whatever.
bubble burst first, but Cardi's isn't far behind.
It's not because they're both on the train of like popularity and clout and all of that. So I'm not taking that from them.
I think CARDI is more advanced on this train. 6ix9ine is on a train where he goes through the bad stuff, and now he's evolving into everyone's gonna start liking him now because he's on interviews apologizing now, saying, "Oh," and you can start seeing his growth. Mm-hmm. He gets the clout. Now you starting to see his growth. And CARDI went through the same, not the same way.
She went through a
He
lot.
went through this like kind of like negative image, her being a stripper and all that, and loving hip hop. And now you see her growing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like he's on that same trajectory.
But it also comes to the end of the day: is he gonna become a buzz? Which we don't know. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying if he does.
He's done pretty much everything that you think a rapper shouldn't do, and he hasn't bust.
I honestly think within like the next year, his bubble will probably burst, and there'll be somebody else.
I don't think so.
But that's just because at some point we're gonna also have to address obviously his legal issues, which
but also his reach though. Like you gotta think, Cardi B had music that she had white people dancing to it, not just a certain demographic.
Most fan base is white.
For sure.
For Cardi?
Yes.
No,
look at his concerts.
I agree, but that's just white people have this weird obsession with hip hop.
Yeah, they like to ease
Cardi
off
does
the urban.
But Cardi does something that he doesn't do, and I'm not saying he doesn't do it in his music on purpose.
I
but
get it.
She embraces her Hispanic heritage, which opens her up to millions of more fans.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna be honest.
Puts people on.
But he could do the same thing though.
Tekashi ain't put no one on. Everyone he's collabed with have already been hot artists. And don't get me wrong, when Cardi collabed with Bad Bunny and J Balvin, they're hot artists in the Hispanic
anybody
world.
he ever had on his feature that was hotter than him than that moment?
Yeah.
Most likely.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
I mean,
but I think he's hotter than them now.
I think he's gotten to that point where he is. I mean, he's definitely hotter than Fetty Wap now. I think he's definitely hotter than Tory Lanez now.
Like he was on a roll.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation that we don't need to get into.
But when you take someone like Bad Bunny and J Balvin, which Cardi did, and put them on an American hip hop song and expose them the way she did, I can understand why people say she's the queen of New York. She's putting people on. And I honestly think until he starts putting people on, maybe then people will feel like he's deserving of the crown. But he hasn't put anyone on yet.
So basically, as a talk cafe, we all agree that 6ix9ine is the king of New York.
No, we're not.
I think that's the consensus.
I think that's what I'm settling for the moment, because at this point you don't know. We can't say he's gonna be a bust. Right now.
As of right
It'll be
now
a bias
today,
if I say he
he's
is.
the king of New York.
No. I mean, as of right now, today, yeah.
3 out of 4 people
I'm settling.
Yeah.
say that.
That's a.
So it's official. Talk Cafe thinks 6ix9ine is the
I'm
king of New
settling.
York. Okay.
Temper.
So and it's not. And Cardi, I love you. Like you.
No, I do.
You're definitely
I like
the queen. You definitely. And if we did put the title together, you would definitely have it right now.
But there's no reason to put the title
But it's
together.
not.
So.
And at the end of the day, like I said, if we're gonna give Tekashi the crown, it's by default.
And that's great for your opinion.
It's fine. But you
All
still
right.
you still haven't found a way
Can we?
to not let that be the case.
Can we move on and talk about how whack that trailer for Godzilla was?
Okay, this is gonna be hard because of the
Because
fact
it
that
was
there's
garbage.
no visual.
That one to the left.
We can't, like, it's kind of hard because I know you have a breakdown of how you want to do it, and then like you gotta like
I think I
pause
can
the
explain
trailer.
it. I think I can explain everything in just words and people would
I haven't even
understand.
seen it
I
yet,
feel
so
like you're
can't even comment on
gonna be a
anything.
little harsh. A
I'm
little
gonna be
bit.
super hard. That trailer was whack.
It was not that bad.
It was garbage.
It was not the most terrible trailer.
They
you've
need
seen.
they need a Glade bag. Like
Oh my god.
bag it up. It
People
smells.
are not gonna be satisfied until the actual Godzilla coming to theaters.
But yeah, you're still
I
gonna
mean,
see.
4D. Obviously, I'm gonna go watch the movie. 4D, possibly. Who knows?
4D. Are you gonna put respect and see it in 4D?
Does 4D really make a big difference?
It does.
It does.
It made Geostorm a good movie to me.
I like
I think Geostorm is
that
garbage.
movie.
It was.
What was it for your birthday or whatever? With The
what was
Rock
it?
or whatever?
Rampage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
4D, right?
That was 4D.
That was pretty cool.
If you would have seen
But-
that in 2D, you would have been bored.
If we would have saw Geostorm
I mean-
in regular, we would have been.
I mean, I
mad.
felt the chair and stuff, but it was just like, okay, I get what you're trying to do.
You know what the
Little
perfect
spritz
franchise?
in my face, you know.
The perfect franchise for those chairs are Fast and Furious. You guys see a Fast and Furious movie?
Oh,
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I gotta see
Very
that
true.
then, because
Yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
okay, but it was like,
Yeah. They
Yeah,
do
that's
some
very
weird. They did
did y'all see that new Rock movie?
No, Skyscraper. That's
Skyscraper.
another one
I
I
want
want
to see. I want to see
That's
that
another
too.
one I want
We
to
should
see.
go see that.
4D.
Is this a
Did you
4D
really watch
worthy?
that 4D?
They're a
It's
falling
a lot of
building.
I
action.
get it. I get it. I'm just thinking. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of prices because like that's
that
240
pass.
movies.
Everybody get the
we're
movie
gonna
pass before the guy.
Before they're
The
gone.
guy steals your money.
see. Can you use Movie Pass for that?
For you can't use Movie Pass for 4D.
That's
There is another service though that lets you see 2 movies a month in anything. 4D, 2D, 3D, and you pay $20.
See, but AMC can see all of that though.
Yeah.
But it's only
Yeah.
3 movies a week.
But
But yeah, so I mean, it's that Godzilla trailer was trash. I mean, Shazam's trailer came out. There were a bunch of trailers that came because Comic-Con happened. So I do encourage you guys to go check it out on YouTube. Leave your opinion in the comments of those studio pages because I
You know,
my
one thing
opinion
I
strongly.
definitely am excited to add to the podcast before we get out of here, and one thing that'll definitely help. Somehow, some way that I think the next podcast we're gonna have live reaction, live feeds. I think that'd be dope. You know, like
Yeah.
have people chime in live to just gather some opinions and even have them come in at some point.
I mean, we have to. Maybe Tekashi will come on and say why
That'd
he's
be
dope.
freaking amazing. Our numbers will go through
All
the
right.
roof.
And definitely before we get out of here, you know, you see how this podcast is. We just talk about different subjects that most people are probably interested in because we're interested in because we're fabulous people. And we're ending this. I'm ending
I don't
this
know if I like
with
to be
the
called
statement
fabulous.
of 6ix9ine is the king of New York.
6ix9ine is the king of New
Yo,
York.
6ix9ine
Also follow me on
Yo,
IG.
6ix9ine, please,
I am.
please cut this man a check.
Also follow me on IG, the real Nate Hustle.
I'm removing this topic from the situation because we don't have enough time to get back into it.
We don't.
6ix9ine send me some t-shirts.
So
He got Treyway tatted right below his heart. I'm telling you. I see. He got Treyway tatted right below his heart.
his beard is gonna be rainbow next podcast.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna color his beard
Word.
rainbow. I can see it.
This podcast.
You should do that.
Mad rainbow
You
colors.
should do that.
He about to get.
Should do that. Somebody. Like
I might make my beard rainbow.
when we start getting people watching this, we should get someone to challenge you to something. And if you fail, you
I
gotta
would definitely
rainbow
rock
your
some
beard.
rainbow t-shirts 6ix9ine send me.
Yeah,
King
we
of
gonna
New
do
York.
that.
Why wouldn't I represent King of New York? Like, come on.
Here we go. See.
Why wouldn't I?
I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. The next time you hear us, we will not be talking about Tekashi, but something different.
I will.
I don't think we should talk about Tekashi anyway because he seems to take all the money from
Let the young boy, young boy make some money.
I wouldn't too, but
why are you trying to mute?
Because I want some money too.
Why are you trying to?
I want some money too.
Wow.
Well,
I'm trying to make this bread too.
I'm trying to make this money too.
on the next podcast, we'll probably kind of go on the same train track and talk about new artists that are coming out who we think will blow up within the next
new albums, new
probably
movies.
touch upon that. It'll be less biased because there's nothing to really compare them to because they're new artists.
Yeah. All right. So before we go out, the way we'll leave it is name the album you're listening to right now that's on repeat. I'm gonna let Kayla, you go first.
That's tough.
Jeez. Nate, you go first. Because I'm forgetting the
album
name.
you're listening to right now that's on repeat.
It doesn't have to be new.
It doesn't have to be new. It could be any album of all time.
Albums I'm listening to right now, honestly, on rotation. I definitely got that Drake album still on rotation, and I've been on my old school R&B thing as of this moment. You know, a little American Idol in my car.
Ooh, I know what I'm thinking.
Kayla got it. Let's do it.
I forgot the name of the album, honestly.
Go through it.
But I just been listening to all LMA, and I would just like to put out there that, you know, I was up on LMA before, you know, she got popping, you know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
But,
so we got Drake, we got LMA. What about you, Dwayne? What you got?
I'm gonna have to go with two people that I don't want to say grew up listening to, but they influenced me a lot. I'm gonna say, I'm trying. My co-host not letting me be great. I'm gonna say Kid Cudi and Kanye.
The Kitsy Ghost.
Kitsy Ghost.
That's a great
CARDI?
album.
Wow.
That is.
I know you ain't talking.
Not the King
Trey
Queen of New
Nate.
York.
You ain't talking about
I listen to
Trey
6ix9ine all day.
Exactly.
straight around the table, Dede.
That mic is a little close to your mouth.
What I'm listening to.
Let's.
What kind of stuff you on?
Why you move closer to the mic every time you talk about 6ix9ine, man?
Oh, God.
I'm just saying, man. Go ahead, man.
So, Dede.
Come on, man.
So, Dede.
What stuff you
You're,
on, man?
Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm dying over here. What album I'm listening to right now? Actually, nothing to do with hip hop. And as you know, my current obsession, I've been listening to the Hamilton musical album
Okay, yeah.
for like every day. It's amazing,
Wow.
and it's mostly hip hop.
Okay, on that note,
like it's written for rap and hip hop.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty. No, I heard some things from it. It's really,
it's really dope. So anyway, that's what we're listening to right now. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you soon, my plebeians.
You're what?
hustle.
Plebeians. Nobody watch Rick and Morty? I'm out. Whatever.
Nah, I'm with you, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
On that note, one fam.
Ha!